What's on the minds of college students like myself? Besides classes, careers, and celebrations, well, our crushes, of course. We want relationships, people. After being stamped single for 2 years, I thought maybe there's another element to this dating thing I haven't quite figured out. So I set out on a journey to discover what's really going on in this dating world.
Think about it like this: the more we are technologically advancing, obviously the more we become dependent on it, and the more we are different from what we were before we had it. Before the internet, people were forced to, talk to each other in person, meet up. Before cell phones, I couldn't just call you up and say, meet this place. People, can you believe that back in the day when people went on dates and things like that, they would literally say, 8 o'clock, we're going to, this and this for dinner. I'll see you there. And you had to show up.
It's kind of like it's a shield. People don't want to be vulnerable anymore. So you kind of losing a sense of vulnerability. And with losing a sense of vulnerability, you're losing that skill of communication because you're hiding.
We are selecting our mates, whether it be for personal, romantic, and even possibly sexual reasons, relationships, using the internet and cell phone applications. So I think we're losing that personal touch.
The new way of flirting is liking 10 pictures on Instagram and expecting them to like pictures back. And if they like pictures back, then you're flirting with someone. And I don't feel like that's a positive, way we're going with this whole society.
Sharing expressions, say emoticons, like where a conversation will end, you can send this emoticon on social network or anywhere, and then that'll express it from there. And how much of that is really expressing how you feel inside.
A lot of the times we have only 140 characters to say what we need to say, so how it translates to how we communicate in person, we're a lot more concise.
People don't put effort at all into trying to court girls, and at the same time girls don't do the same. So it's so much more difficult to date people because everybody's on their phone the whole time, and there's online dating that it's so easy. I mean, you have you can just match people up and you have 10 options, something that wasn't heard of just 10 years ago.
So what is online dating?
Online dating is defined as dating using the internet or phone applications, but using other vehicles than face-to-face.
To put up a profile and set up characteristics, what you like. I think my definition is I like long walks on the beach.
The use of an organized service that caters to people who are looking to meet each other.
It's just an extension of my dating area.
Oxford Dictionary says, the practice of searching for a romantic or sexual partner on the internet, typically via a dedicated website. I talked to a married couple to get their thoughts on the dating issues for millennials, and who better to ask than a couple who met online.
We both have daughters that are similar in personality and style and communication skills. And they communicate differently. We don't know what's going on with them. And they communicate better through texting than on the phone, even in the house. So, that we're always perplexed by that.
Online dating is a booming industry, evolving from only Match.com in 1995 to more than 2,500 online dating services. Made popular by the 1998 movie You Got Mail, turning rival business partners into online love interests. According to Online Dating Magazine, almost 20 million people visit at least one dating site every month. As the second highest industry for paid content on the web, just behind the porn industry, internet matchmaking sites have become a trend. Recently, online dating spread to social networking sites and surfaced on online applications, one being Tinder, an award-winning application reaching 40 million users since 2011. The television industry caught on to the trend, adapting the documentary about online dating into MTV's Catfish, the TV show, a television series that follows online daters through their experiences.
I am an avid online dater because I'm constantly online, pretty much 7 days a week.
There are advantages to this online dating game.
I'd be a fool to deny that it's an advantage to online date. It is an advantage. You know, you can kind of get to know somebody, like I said, based off a profile. It's easier. You know, people don't have time to go to the bar. People don't have time to go to lounges and mixers. People don't have time to, you know, go out on a night on the town. Like, you know, people got work in the morning. So if I can log onto my computer and meet somebody that I would have possibly met at a bar, I'm gonna do it.
But what about the dangers?
I can make you fall in love with me via the internet, and I have never even met you.
I noticed that a good percentage of the men that are online are married or in a relationship with somebody else, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
You don't necessarily have to embrace all of the flaws that you may be insecure with.
Men lie, they do lie, and men give pictures that aren't accurate.
It can be fake, you know, and so you have to be even more alert than when you are meeting a person, because I mean, people lie even to your face, but online is even easier. So
the rise of tech-enabled dating increased our dating pool, but has it increased our chances to swim, or are we drowning in all the options?
You can like mess up 10 dates, you know, and there's more, you know, so.
It's just based on the individual, because it depends on where you're at within your head. There's a lot of competition, because if you're that person that's indecisive and you've got so many, as you say, plenty of fish, you know, plenty of people looking at you and thinking, wow, she's spectacular or he's spectacular, then, you know, of course, you know, your options, you're going to be a little puzzled. But if you're that person that's really looking to settle down, you're going to find some definition about what it is that you want, and that's what you're going to go after.
A biological anthropologist at the Kinsey Institute, Helen Fisher, weighed in on NPR's Marketplace.
And that's the big problem in all of the dating sites. It's called cognitive overload. When you think you've got dozens, if not hundreds, of different alternatives and possibilities, you end up taking none.
The Pew Campus research shows as the digital era emerged, the marriage rate decreased. Although 61% of people who never married want to get hitched, 12% don't think marriage is an avenue for them. 32% agree with the statement that online dating keeps people from settling down because they always have options for people to date.
That's true. You do have so many more options. However, I think high divorce rates, cohabitation, it's becoming the norm that we can have children out of wedlock. And society is, well, let's just say there's not a stigma like there used to be.
Okay, so have you online dated?
Well, of course I have used online dating several times on several different sites.
Absolutely not.
And why is that?
Well, because I've been married for 44 years, so during that time, there was no such thing as online dating.
I have, and I have established like several like relationships in the past, you know, through these websites.
No, not personally, but right now I'm meeting a lot of people. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are on online websites, so I'm hearing what they're saying and I'm debating about what I think about it.
Quite often, you know, I find myself on social media running into people, but not necessarily with the intent of running into them. It's more so just browsing and networking, and you may or may not find someone that you have things in common with.
Nearly 1/3 of people who use social networking and have recent dating experience use these sites to find out more information about a person they're interested in dating. 12% of the users friended or followed someone because one of their friends suggested they might want to date them. Nearly 1/3 of the users have asked someone on a date using social media.
If you put it like that, yes. Now, do I have a profile for Black People Meet? No. But I mean, I have social media. I have, you know, hinted at a couple of females via social media. I have flirted. I've exchanged numbers.
Now, I wonder, is your social media profile just as viable for a date as your online dating profile?
Oh, I slide in the DMs all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like direct messaging on Instagram. I never did it on Twitter. I thought that was a bit thirsty and weird. But on Instagram, it just feels better. You know what I'm saying? I throw a little meme with it. My caption will say something like, "Any room for me in here?" or something like that. Yeah.
Social media. I feel like it's not really the atmosphere correct for online dating. So I mean, yes, you can approach people and message them and be like, hey, you know, give them your number, and you know, but I mean, when people get on to social media, it's more so for focusing on the friendships you already have.
If you talk to with a person on Facebook, that's not really online dating because you met them before, you know?
See, that's a little bit different because social media is a form of communication, which is a form of online dating. But I wouldn't classify social media as online dating.
A lot of times, usually with Facebook, it's just so much traffic. I mean, it's like you and a million other people trying to talk to one person. It's a little bit ridiculous.
My first real, I don't know if you want to call it puppy love type relationship, started online on a site called Bebo, and we ended up being in a relationship for over 2 years.
It was a Sunday morning and my children are asleep. This is my quiet time, Sunday mornings, right? So I'm in my room, I got my little devotional shows on, I'm relaxed, paying bills on the computer, and so I decided to check the profiles to see who's up there today. And so, lo and behold, this gorgeous black man is on this website in Hampton Roads in my area code, right?
My senior prom date was via online. We all went out, I think we went for bowling or something. We took a group picture and then, you know, the girl took the picture, tagged everybody in a photo. So I like friend requested her. We started talking, exchanging some words, and then I got her number. And we kind of built a relationship and we ended up dating for a little bit. I took her to my prom and we've been cool ever since. That was about 4 years ago, so we still close.
I met one guy that I was in a relationship with for about 8 or 9 months, and we were getting along. He was a very nice guy, and to this day we are still good friends.
Since 2005, over half of online users agree that online dating is a good way to meet people, a 15% jump from the original 44%. While 21% of internet users agree that people who use online dating sites are desperate, there's been an 8% decline in that desperate thinking.
Personally, I think online dating is it's silly to me, just because of the fact that I know, you know, personal interaction means so much to the core of relationships.
I think I'm too outgoing of a person, for real, to be looking for somebody online. I can't see myself doing it, only because it's kind of like, you're desperate. You know, that's just really?
I was one of those people who are like, online dating, you know, why, you know, there's a certain level of pride I took to say that, you know, I didn't have to turn to online dating.
I feel like to each his own. My friend met like a really nice guy on a dating website recently, and it definitely opened up my eyes to the possibilities of using online dating as an option.
I think online dating is just fine, but if we're using online dating totally dependent on technology, then I think that's a problem.
I used to think that it was for people that are kind of desperate, like not in, like I don't want to judge, but you know, there are some people that for many reasons, like don't have any other like possibility of meeting people. But I've met college students who do it, and I asked them why, and I realized that there are some like problems or some factors that can come in the way, even if you're a college student and you meet like people every day.
When you're in college, you have the most available people in your socioeconomic status. Once you leave that environment, and you know, people told me that when I was in college, but it was really true. It was really, really true. All of a sudden, that pool of people is gone.
Pause. I'm having a hard enough time finding a relationship in college, so you're telling me afterward it'll be even harder? According to a study conducted by Facebook, 28% of married college graduates went to the same college. So why are we using these dating websites when singles live right next door?
I think people are kind of leaning towards online dating now because our lifestyles are so fast. You know, the way we live now, everything is just, everybody's so focused on their career, you know, themselves. Everyone's goal oriented. You know what I'm saying? Women don't want to be wives anymore. No one wants to sit in the house and cook. Like, they want to run the world.
So many black women your age and my wife's age who are well educated and sometimes putting their education or expertise out there does that hinder you?
It does. It does.
Yes, it's true. In 2015, women aren't just going to college to get their MRS degree, but does that mean we've stopped looking for love? Dr. Lisa Wade, a researcher of gender roles in college, describes dating as a game of whoever cares less wins. But an online survey conducted by New York University psychologist Dr. Paula England at 21 colleges and universities throughout the U.S. found that nearly 3/4 of men and women hope that a hookup will lead to something more substantial.
So it's easier to be let down via online, like, oh, they denied your friend request. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep it pushing.
I have these friends that they're like, I have no other chance of meeting people on campus, so this app helps me to create time when I don't have time and to target just like the people that have my same interests without going through all the other stuff.
I wanted to meet more people so I could discern them a little better, because I might meet somebody once every 6 months. But with the service, you could meet a lot of people and at your own pace, and you could do it safely.
The big thing right now is privacy and control. And so these websites and apps you see that are out gives people a certain level of comfortability because they're able to expose like parts of themselves to connect with people on a level that they want to. So say in person, it can go down any direction of an interaction for them.
Being online allows you to gives you the opportunity to be whoever you want to be. If you're not satisfied with the person you are.
I think really that's why people online date. It may be just fear of rejection.
Maybe we're just playing the wrong game, people. We have to get our priorities straight.
The book by Neil Clark Warren, who started eHarmony, Date or Soulmate, changed my life. It made me sit down and assess what it was that I wanted and that I did not want. I made it really clear in my mind.
For me, it's very important that he's smart. It's just, if they're like dumb, it's a very big turnoff for me. I'm just like, no.
I like people who are talkative. Don't let me hold the whole conversation. I don't want to feel like this. Like I'm doing most of the talking right now. You wouldn't be a good date.
You might find those things, but do they really exist? See, that's the thing. That's the thing about online dating.
You can find the traits that you like in a person online, but it's kind of like playing, it's like rolling dice. You don't know. So just because she puts on there, you know, I'm fun-loving, optimistic, I like a good joke, and she put those things maybe to trap a certain guy that's like that. Not trap. Trap is a strong word, but I'm going to use it anyways because girls be trapping out here. And she puts that in her bio, but she really isn't that way. Maybe that's something that she strives to be. In real life, you can't really fake that for too long.
I like assertive women, but she was still traditional, you know, and we dated and courted and communicated. So yeah, there was a lot of tradition built in.
Traditional dating in this case is described in terms of the location of the initial interaction, either online or face-to-face. Who approached who, courtship, and sexual practices are not factors for these participants. According to Match.com, over a third of men and women say they would flake on a date if they did some online research and didn't like what they saw.
Number one, if you go online date, try to do some research on it. If you know she goes to a certain school, hit some people up, say, do you know this girl? Is she real? Number two, never meet up in a place that's not well lit with a lot of people.
I personally, because I've had some experience where I've been like, whoa, am a little bit more cautious than most. I normally try to meet them out in public places. You know, you meet, say at the mall, say at a restaurant. You meet at a public place. I don't invite anyone to my house that I've met online until I've known them for an extended period of time.
My favorite place was Starbucks because they're everywhere. They're everywhere, and I was really comfortable in that environment, and I liked it because it typically was a short meeting.
There was a movie called Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah,
And that was kind of like the way people met was in bars and discos and clubs.
Hookups.
And I said, is this really the ideal way to meet somebody?
You meet a psychopath that way.
And that's what the movie was about.
Yeah.
So for folks who are still uncomfortable with the online dating, I mean, consider the alternatives to where you would meet somebody.
So, for the big question, what dating method is better for the 21st century? Online or traditional?
I think traditional works better?
For me personally, it would be online dating.
I'll say it's traditional based on the fact that you can actually meet someone, you can actually see that person, you can actually touch that person, and, you know, figure out where they're at.
I think the getting to know people face to face, I think it's just very powerful.
Traditional dating. Meet the person, see how they react with your eyes, stare at them and see if they're embarrassed or not. That is the best.
I would prefer traditional dating. It's a lot more interesting.
One, because it's spontaneous, it's not forced. You get to pick up on nonverbal communication. You get to actually see if she's interested. She gets to get a real feel for you. You get a real feel for her.
Probably in the 21st century, I give high marks to the online. If this is, you want to meet someone that has similar interests or interests that you share that goes beyond just physical attraction. I mean, if you're serious about it, I think you can meet someone in a substantial way. You know, there still has to be that human communication. I mean, at the end of the day, you just can't talk into your devices. You have to be able to look someone in the eye or
and see if they're lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person that you plan to spend the rest of your life with or whatever, because ultimately that is what dating is made for. I feel like you can't put a time on it. So to rush and try and find someone through an online internet site to, you know, rush through your day, I don't feel like that's the appropriate way of doing something. I feel like God always has someone in your life for you, and you do need to take the time out and meet someone the traditional way.
So the conclusion is, drum roll, it depends on the person. But one thing everyone agreed on is that personal interaction is necessary for a successful relationship, and technology has definitely affected millennials negatively. After hearing a few success stories though, maybe I'll look into online avenues, but just make sure I'll meet up as soon as possible and as safely as possible. In a well-lit area, of course.